Hello and welcome to another episode of Drax Corner. This week will be Night's Watch Wolf versus Lannister Son, played by Duquesne. We are using Road to Winterfell cards. They're not out here yet in Australia, so Octagon will have to suffice. We both have a 4-card setup. Range and Party, Sansa, Steward at the Wall, Rose Road, versus a Rose Road, Tyrion with a bodyguard, and a Lannisport merchant. So pretty decent setups from both sides. I'm going to open here with Trade in with the Pentoshi, which is a card from the new chapter pack that I think works great with Night's Watch. Helps them get around some of their economic problems, as well as letting you just get out those big locations early if you have them. So I've got an Iron Throne I can get out. Giving Lannister a lot of money is not generally a good idea. But he flips Noble Cause, which means I get to go first, which means I win initiative, which means I choose for him to go first. So even though he gets a juicy 9 gold and can reduce a Lord or Lady by 2, I have 2 milks in my hand. Not overly concerned. He drops Tywin. I can milk Tywin and Tyrion and laugh about it. I also drew into the Wall and Sam, which is great news. As I said, you really want to drop locations with this plot, because if either player overextends, it's generally quite easy to just wildfire to bring it all back in line. He's going to use that reducer there. Plays Tywin for 3 gold. I don't know how we reduced it by 2. Oh. So yeah, I'm going to probably play the Iron Throne and the Wall for 6 gold. I'll still have 5 left. I want to play those 2 milks, which means I'll be down to just 3 gold. I want to play a Raven, and I want to play Sansa. I want to play Sam. Oh wait, Sansa's just a duplicate, so that means I can play all of those things. He gets out Cersei's Wheelhouse. So he had 9 gold. Pretty sure Tywin should have cost him 4. We'll have the Rose Road, obviously. No, but that's why he had 9 gold. I don't know, maybe he cheated. But the way we've played it is he had 5 gold left to play Nymeria Sand, who is another new character from the Road to Winterfell pack. It's going to be seen everywhere for a while, I think, as her ability lets her choose an icon, have that character lose it. Choose a character, have them lose an icon, and all Sand Snakes gain that icon. So, since I want to play the Wall, I need to get rid of Tyrion's stealth, preferably. And since my plan was only to play only have one military icon down, I don't want to be at risk of Nymeria just taking my military icon and getting an unopposed challenge through. So I'm going to have to milk that Nymeria. Again, lucky that I've got 2 milks. And unless he sees like Rattleshirt Raiders or something, he's only going to be able to remove the milk from 1. It's unfortunate that Tywin does not get to be milked in this instance, as he is going to be supplying some money for the rest of the game unless I see my 3rd milk. So yeah, it seems very unlikely that he could do anything to force an unopposed challenge through this turn. I've got every icon. He's got no stealth, he's got no challenge icon stealing shenanigans. He's got no gold, no Tyrion money coming through, no things I do for love or something like that that might wreck me. And he can only do 2 challenges max. If he does them both, then yeah. I'll just get heaps of power from unopposed. If he does the military, I've always got that Sansa duplicate I can kill off. If he does a power, I've got no power to steal. If he does an intrigue, it'll hurt because I like the cards that are in my hand, especially Benjen. But a Messenger Raven is going to deliver me another card at the end of the turn. And Sam has the chance of getting one himself. So it's a tough decision for what he should do on his first turn. Ideally he wants to get some renown on Tywin, but he might just have to do that on defense. Tywin can block any of my challenges except for military if I was going to go all out and do 3 challenges. Okay, so he's chosen to do an intrigue challenge with Tyrion. So I need to oppose it. I could win it if I block with everyone, and then I could still keep the wall up, but I am happy to lose a card at this point. He can't afford a tears, and means I'm going to get an extra power. And really I want to get power as soon as I can, because Tywin is going to get power over time, and I just want to outpace that. So he passes on challenges. I'm going to start with a mill. I'm going to win the challenge either way, but if he kneels out Tywin to this one, it's pretty awesome. If he doesn't, I get an unopposed power. So he lets it go unopposed and kills off the Lannis Port Merchant for claim. Do a power challenge with Sansa. I really want her to be kneeling. He doesn't have any power for me to steal, but he does choose to block it for some reason. I think the smarter move there would be to... well, actually it depends. He could wait for me to do an intrigue, but if he had let that power go unopposed, I wouldn't have done an intrigue and given him the renown. But instead, this way I do get a card out of it. So what will that card be? It is that Castle Black or another wall? No, it's another wall. Yay! So yeah, pretty good for a turn 1. 6 power after Sansa stands. Over a third of the way towards victory. And this was pretty much the ideal start. The only thing that could have potentially made it better would have been a Castle Black. But Sansa I always want to see on setup. The wall, I want to play it as soon as possible. The Iron Throne is just great for getting that power drip. And a Messenger Raven stops me from running out of cards, which I would have been down to 1 card if I didn't have any draw. And against Lannister, that means I'd be top decking for the rest of the game. But Messenger Ravens are great against Lannisters because you can just play out your hand and not worry about the intrigue claim at all. So I'm going to choose to go Filthy Accusations here, assuming that he was going to play Confiscation. So if he didn't play Confiscation, I would kneel out Tywin. But since he has played Confiscation, I'm going to kneel out Tyrion, just because he has stealth, and it's one less thing to worry about, unless he chooses to take it off Nymeria, I guess. I'm not sure who I would choose if it was me, but since Tyrion just provides you so much money for Put to the Swords, Widow's Wail, and more importantly, the Hound, Treachery, Tears of Lys, like, he does his work, as well as buffing Tywin every time. So he won initiative this round, so he chooses me to go first, because I don't want to go first. I've got 5 gold. I could play Benjen, who's always great to have, but he's not really necessary right now. Bran will protect me from anything fishy that could happen, and this way I also get to play out Lewin. Lewin I wouldn't even normally play, but in this instance, since I'm the one with the big board, I now have 6 characters out, excluding the Messenger Raven because he'll bounce back. It's likely a wildfire could come up, and Lewin will stop Bran from having to be killed during that, which is great, because I've got 3 Brans in the deck. I'd rather use him than have him die. So we can come back and cancel Treachery again. So he counts 7 gold thanks to his ridiculous amount of money from Tywin. Tywin is currently 13 strength. Let's see what he decides to play. I'm still feeling very confident about being able to proc the wall this turn. There's not really much that could go wrong. He plays a Bastard's Daughter. And Cersei Lannister. So, like I said, the best strategy versus Lannister is to just play out your whole hand. Cersei doesn't mean anything if you play out your whole hand and you've got a Messenger Raven or 2 on the board. But I played as many cards as I could this turn, which was 3. And I have 3 left. But I'll at least be drawing some more. So I do a power challenge with Bran. This is mostly because I want to get use out of him before I have to sacrifice him if Treachery or something comes along. And also potentially force him to kneel one of his bigger characters, but he lets it go unopposed. I don't have any claim. Well, he doesn't have anything to steal. But I still get an unopposed power. I do an intrigue challenge with Sam. If he lets this go unopposed, I'm just that much closer to winning, and I draw a card. So he blocks with Tywin. He gets his renown for this turn. Now all I really have to worry about is an intrigue and a military. Military I'll be able to win as long as I don't military him, which I'm not really planning to. So I'll just pass challenges there. I can defend, get dominance, get the wall, get Sansa. As long as I don't lose a power challenge, I'm going to be up to 11 at the end of the turn. So he does an intrigue challenge, gets to get 2 of my cards, hoping one of them is the wall. And it gets the non-wall cards. So yeah, you keep a location back against some people if you want a bit of intrigue claim soak. If it would be a duplicate otherwise. Against Greyjoy, I would duplicate it. Also, if I was going to be able to play out my whole hand, I would as well. But I was hopefully trying to protect Benjen there, and it failed. But 7 to 2, not bad. He does a mill, I block, I have to, I win it. He has 5 gold, so it's quite likely the Hound is going to come out to play. And there he is. I'll let him do a power challenge, which will steal 1 back from me. and yeah, I'll just block that with Lewin, just for the oppose. I don't particularly mind him having a power on his house card. Means I can potentially steal it next turn. And the hound bounces back to his hand. The phase ends, get 2 power from the wall, and win dominance for another 1. Return the Raven to my hand to draw a card, and when Sansa stands, get another one. So, this is where I'd consider fortified position, but all that's really going to get me is a blank Tywin. Cersei I don't really care that much about. I'm going to be able to empty my hand with that King's Road no matter what I draw. Can't see what I chose there. Oh, I was fortified. Yeah, so I think I just realised that whole thing I just said. And go with the Feast for Crows, which gives me an additional 2 power if I win dominance. Really puts the heat on this turn. With Sansa, the wall, and dominance, I could get 6 power without doing any challenges. And he plays Wardens of the West, the new Lannister plot, which will allow him to discard more cards from my hand. Yeah, the downside of fortified there would be I'd blank Lewin and Bran, and if he had Wildfire that turn, discard a card. I wouldn't have to discard if I fortified, but I would lose Bran, and I don't really want to lose Bran just yet. Plus, if I don't win this turn, pretty much guaranteed to win next turn with a fortified. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be able to play out my whole hand here. The wall, Messenger Raven. Oh, well, I won't be able to play out my whole hand because I've got 2 limited cards, but which one do I want more? I'm going to be able to play any character in my deck with any plot with 2 Rose Roads. And it's unlikely I'm going to draw enough that I really need the King's Road. So yeah, two Rose Roads is the choice. The game's actually not going to last long enough anyway. Get out Arya with the stealth. Even more stealth protection, and yeah, just another character for dominance as well. So if he will get 7 gold, he plays down a King's Road. Sorry, he got 8 gold, played King's Road for 1. If he wants to win dominance, he's going to need some efficient gold to strength characters. Tywin is a great gold efficient character. Every gold counts as 1 extra. So Tywin pretty much counteracts the Iron Throne. But I have more characters. And my plan will be to attack him with all my shitty characters, like Bran and Sam, or the Steward at the Wall. And hope that he kneels out a bigger character to stop me from getting an unopposed power. Which is fine, because unless he can get an unopposed through, I'm so close to victory. Thinking really hard about what to play, and in the end decides to not actually play anything. So we've got a strength 13 Tywin. Do a power challenge with Bran. Again, I want to get use out of him before he gets an event off, in case he gets an event off. if you let it go unopposed, then it'd be two power, which is way too many. And I do an intrigue here just in case he decides not to do any challenges. I want to make sure Sansa's kneeling to get me that one additional power. And he blocked with Cersei because her additional claim is not going to mean anything this round. That was on the power though. So for intrigue, he would need to block with Tywin or Tyrion. He decides Tywin is the correct choice. He gets a renown out of it, but he just loses a whole lot of dominance pressure there. Forgot about the Tyrion gold, but that's fine. So I have a military challenge left. Now that Tywin is kneeling, I can actually get this unopposed. I will have to discard my card, but I don't really care about it. When he kills off that bastard's daughter. But the extra power is just going to solidify my victory here. And I can definitely give up Arya and still defend all the challenges, I'm pretty sure. Tyrion could stealth range and party on a power, but then I've got Lewin to block. Although if he did a military first with the person he just killed, he would have had to kill off Cersei or Nymeria. And then he maybe could have gotten on a poster, but even that wouldn't have really done anything. And yeah, just calling it GG there, because he can't do anything to stop me from triggering the wall, getting dominance, and Sansa. So I'd be up to 17, even if he stole one. Still 16 power. And that's a turn 3 Night's Watch victory. And that's pretty much the way you want the Night's Watch deck to run. Didn't really see much of the new cards, but trading with Pentoshi was pretty amazing there. Yeah, we'll be back with game 2 shortly. Thanks for watching. Peace.